My name is Mel, and you're not just going to change. You want me to be different, be different. My name is Mel, and you're not just going to change. You want me to be different, be different, be different. My name is Mel, and you're not just going to change. You are going to be different. You are going to be out. You are going to be bigger and larger than ever. That is impossible. And you know why? Because just you and I will find the power that's been born inside of you all of this time. And all of this time, you will pray. Your power is no longer that you will be shouting, you will be the God. Or God is something. You will be the one that everybody heard you and said, look, they're there. The man is there. The teacher there. There's the one that will make my life different. And when I can do that, remember, I'm just something. I'm here to tell you. I'm here to change your life. Your life will no longer be the same. Together, my brains will accomplish your goal. Before you know it, everything you imagine possible will be possible for one simple reason. And it is possible, possible. My name is Mel, and you're not just going to change. You want me to be different, be different, be different. My name is Mel, and you're not just going to change. You want me to be different, be different, be different.
And welcome to yet another program of Uncommon Sense. You're listening to the voice of Dr. Mel Gill. And in the studio today, we have two very special women waiting for us to come on. And one is Dr. Nisha Rani, and her mother, Pam Queen, is also going to be joining us as well. I saw her backstage a second ago, and we'll add her to the stream in a second. First, let me add Nisha. Hi, Nisha. How are you?
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me once again.
We are looking forward to hearing more about ancestral trauma and women's role in spirituality as well. And would love to also have your mother's insights into all of this as well. So let's welcome Pam to the show as well. Welcome, Pam, to Uncommon Sense.
Hello, thank you for this.
Thank you for being here. I'm so excited to listen to you and hear and learn from both of you wonderful, expressive women who are leading a lot of women into feeling more confident about who they are and their place in the world and healing all manner of trauma and pain and what have you. So today's topic, Nisha, tell us a little bit more about what we're going to talk about today.
So today we're going to touch base on experiences that we have and how those experiences, whether they are on the other end of the scale, more positive experiences, how they are passed through the genes, but also something very, very important and something very special called epigenetics. So epigenetics allows us to take more control over our consciousness and the so-called things that we are predisposed to have diseases, that we are predisposed in terms of disease and genetic disturbances and disbalances in the body. And the aim of this discussion is to empower us all and to not be not fall victim to things that we may say we are genetically predisposed to, because we have much more power than that.
Wow. Okay. I'm just curious. When we talk about genetics, we talk about the DNA sequences that are, representative of each person's personal thumbprint, kind of like the shadows across your body, like now, making you look like a zebra. Hello. Yeah. Do you see that? Do you see that? I think it's the blinds. That's the blinds. Yeah, that's the blinds. I mean, if you're okay with it, that's fine. But otherwise, we could just lift it and you won't have that. But that's okay. It leaves a particularly round thing on your face, which is kind of very interesting as well, right? Sorry, phone from Bulgaria of all places.
Oh, that's exactly where I am.
and you are in Bulgaria right now, and your mother is in London right now. Is that correct?
In Leicester. In Leicester.
In Leicester, which is not London. Let's say hello to a few people who have come in. My mother is watching us as well. Hey, Mamji, how are you? And Deepa Sapra is watching, and Sarvjit Kaur.
Hi, Deepa. Hi.
Remember Kantinan? She says hello to you and me both. And Pam, your mother is watching, but I don't see her on this anymore. Oh, there she is. Okay, she's just revealed herself and gave us her blessings, just like the pictures. So let's continue on that discussion right now about how DNA is very important or ancestral trauma located in the DNA is very important in determining our destinies.
So, as we know, DNA is it's our blueprint.
Okay.
And the DNA that is DNA is within every single cell in the body that has a nucleus in every nucleus. And DNA gives us instructions. Now, sometimes those instructions can tell us that we could be at threat during our lifetime. So, and this can happen through traumatic experiences, say, for example, of our mothers and fathers, or further beyond that, our grandparents, or even further, our ancestors way back in time. There have been studies that have been done on rats and mice. These studies showed that there was a difference in the genetic makeup of the pups, the babies of these mothers, when it came to how the mother groomed their offspring. And the evidence that was shown shows us that even though we may be predisposed, say we have a mother that carried us in our womb that went through emotional stress, and if we then allow that pup with the predisposed genetic material to then be groomed by a mother who is in a more calmer state of mind and is able to groom that pup in a healthy manner, the genes for stress are turned off. And this is very interesting because we can then allow this information to empower us when it comes to gaining more strength when it comes to having certain an environment that may be traumatic. We can also turn on certain genes within ourselves that can strengthen our ability to adapt to those things.
Wow. And so if I'm looking at my life right now, knowing that these are the trauma that I've gone through in life has created who I am so far, is there any way I can change any of this, or am I doomed because of the grooming habits of my rat mother, or just kidding, mother?
So between the ages of 0 to 6, 0 to 7 is a very important time when it comes to development, because during this time the neurons and chemical messengers and cells, they are growing at a very, very fast rate. So the environment of your body is being developed at the fastest rate in this time. However, as human beings, we also have the ability to be conscious, mindful, and aware of certain behaviors that we may possess or exhibit.
Right.
And when we use that mindfulness and self-awareness, it's then possible to start a process of neuroplasticity, whereby we change the neural networks in our brains to better suit us, so that we are not always a victim of what has happened before.
All right. So there is hope for, say people like me, or even as I add to the stream, people like Ashok, who has gone through a lot of trauma in his life as well.
Yes. We are back again, Ashok.
Yes. Hi, Pam. Hi, Nisha. Hi, Dr. Gill. How are you guys doing?
Very good. Very good. Thanks for your patience. I was just waiting for Nisha to tell us how are there specific things that we can do to use the neuroplasticity of our brain to become calmer. What's the opposite of trauma? When you're traumatized, what's the opposite of that?
It's more, you're more in a state of bliss and peace, aren't you?
Bliss and balance and peace. Okay, good. Got it.
So,
bliss. So a lot of people don't even know what happiness is, let alone bliss. Is that going to be a problem?
Happiness, happiness sometimes is, what's the word? Has the wrong definition in some people's minds. And a lot of the time people think that their happiness is a product of their surroundings and their circumstances. But happiness is something
like what's happening around you, is it? Where's that noise coming from? Is that Ashok?
Yes, there is silence going on. I'm okay. They are not after me. Cops are not after me. Okay?
Well, that was my first question, but okay.
I preempted most of your questions.
He's here. He's here. Look for him. Oh, all right. Dr. Nisha Rani is telling us about how we can change the way in which we have been traumatized in our DNA since birth. But then there is trauma that also happened in our, not just us directly, but in our ancestors and tribes and what have you, like you hear stories about India, right? And how the British came and killed millions of Indians and looted the land and raped and pillaged and did everything they did for the empire. That's a genetic trauma, isn't it? Or ancestral trauma that a lot of Indians live with.
We are all Indians on this show, I think. So we are all living in that torture, you're saying.
I'm just asking.
You want me to answer it?
Yes, it's directed at Nisha, Pam, and you both.
Nisha, you go ahead. And plus, like, I see those lines over there. It looks like I'm watching a Johnny Depp movie. Like,
yeah, I know.
Secret window, like you can't see everything.
I actually attempted to open the blinds, but I wasn't able to open them. So
I thought that was a special effect or something like that.
You just have to imagine it as a helix.
An avant-garde movie, yeah. Turn on the room light if you don't mind, as well. There we go. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Much better.
I didn't actually do anything there. That happened by itself.
That came on by itself?
It came on by itself.
Oh, okay. We're about to watch an immaculate God showing himself to Nisha right now. All right, that's wonderful. Did that also just happen, or was that his son?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna have lapses of this. This happens in Varna a lot. One day it'll look like it's sunny, and then you step outside thinking it's sunny, and next minute it's all dark and frozen, and you're gonna freeze your everything off. So let's continue on the subject of what shall we call it, sublimating the trauma, or changing it into something else?
Transforming it. So we have a choice of transferring trauma, and we have a choice to transform trauma. And it's like alchemy, you know, and we all possess this power. We all possess this power. Something that comes to mind when it comes to genetic predisposition is people that are predisposed to diabetes, and patients say, it's in my genes, I'm going to get diabetes. However, I've also seen patients reverse the disease itself just through the diet. And this shows us that although we may be genetically predisposed to things, we also have the power.
By changing our environment and what goes inside of us. Pam, what are your thoughts on this?
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me. Just to say, first of all, that I was ever so frightened and scared to come on this live show. Nisha will tell you I'm not a social media person, so I'm not usually on social media. So this is a big courageous step.
It's a big courageous step, and I acknowledge it, and I thank you for it. And the lighting on you is perfect now.
Yes, I turned on the camera light to
there you go.
Give you a little bit more light. So
yes.
My perspective is not from a medical perspective, but more from a spiritual perspective of trauma, sorrow, happiness and bliss. So just to give you a little bit of background about myself, I've been practicing meditation for about 12 years and recently started to practice Raja Yoga meditation. I'm not sure if you have heard of this, but there are
but for those who are listening, who are listening right now who don't know, could you describe what Raja Yoga is?
Yes. So Raja Yoga, Raja means the king and the almighty, and yoga defines connection with the almighty. So in its simplest form, it is having a very strong connection with the almighty or the universe or spirit or whatever you would like to call the highest form of energy. It has sort of Hindu, it comes from Hindu origins, obviously, hence the term Raja Yoga. And we've been practicing it for about just over a year now. And the main message really is to have a real solid connection with the Almighty. Just, we are all children, we are all souls, and we are all children of the one Father, of the one Creator. We're all brothers and sisters. And the main aim is to release...
You said one Father, not one Mother?
Mother, Father, Creator, however you would like to perceive it. Some people like to use the word God, some people like to use the word Spirit, some people like to use the word universal energy, cosmic energy, whichever word works for individuals. I see it as the same thing, source. But essentially, I think it's picking up on what we were talking about last week, was about karmas and karmic accounts. So one of the teachings or philosophies, if you like, about Raja Yoga meditation is that as souls, we go through a process of many births. And through those many births, we accumulate karmas. And in order for us to clear our karmic accounts and go back to the golden age, if you like, you achieve this through meditation with the one supreme source, and you purify yourselves and you cleanse your soul really of the karmic accounts and the sanskars that you have built up over these many births, and you let your pure virtues, your original virtues of your soul shine through, which are love, peace, happiness, wisdom, willpower, purity, and bliss. So these are the innate qualities of the soul. And so when we talk about trauma, one of the things we learned, obviously, I went to my meditation class yesterday evening. It was about not taking trauma, not taking sorrow, learning how to handle yourself and make yourself unshakable, so that you are strong in any situation. So with respect to the trauma, I would say that once you start practicing meditation, whichever form works for an individual, the aim is to become so unshakable that you don't take trauma or sorrow, but at the same time you don't give trauma or you give sorrow. So that's the really important point.
For people like me, I give sorrow just by being alive. And so,
bless you. I'm sure you don't.
But you hear the frogs in the background? That's not imported. That's not imported. That's it's that season, mating season, and there's a lot of frogs around my koi pond, and they're all mating and things like this. So that's real, by the way, and there's nothing I can do to stop it. I'm so sorry.
That's actually quite significant. Because
tell us why.
Because
Nisha loves frogs.
Yes, she told me.
We were speaking before about things that are passed on through mothers to offspring, and nature has synchronized with us and is showing that exact thing. So
yes. Well, yesterday we discovered Nisha's nickname is Tadpole. yes, Tadpole, because she's in a state of metamorphosis all the time, and she's bringing other people through metamorphosis as well. We know butterflies metamorphose into from caterpillars to butterflies, and there are these little eggs that go into tadpoles into frogs, and what have you. And so she's talking about transformation. What is it? 2 a.m., 3 a.m. last night for me? I can't remember. Yeah. So, Ashok, you want to add something to the fray here about, your male perspective on trauma and ancestral trauma and how we can deal with it or best deal with it?
It's not a male perspective; it's a human perspective. You understand?
You're not. Well, this is. We'll come to the admission in a bit that you're not male. We'll go forward from there later.
Right. Last night, like around 2 a.m., I got a message from this guy. He said, "I wish I'm lying in bed right next to you." He was supposed to send it to his girlfriend, and by mistake, because he was talking to me, he ended up sending. I'm like, I hope I don't give that vibes, because I'm not male, female, or anything. I'm just a human being. So I'll give you that perspective on that.
Well, look on the bright side. At least he didn't send a picture attached to a photograph.
I know. I corrected him before he could do it. I said, ha. I hope I don't give those vibes. He said, sorry, I meant to send it to my girlfriend. I'm like, okay.
All right.
And I know his girlfriend. So now I'm not sure whether he was trying to send it to his girlfriend or he was cheating on her. So I'm in a dilemma whether to let her girlfriend know or not, but I'm going to hold my peace.
Well, she does now know.
Yeah. Well, I got a lot of friends, so
this is social media.
Yeah, but they can't figure out which friends. I do think it's easy to figure out one friend,
All right.
So when we talk about karma, like it actually means in Indian language is the action. So action is decided by what you do. So yes, there are so many different karmas, and like generally people take it like, oh, this is my bad karma, but that's not how it works. Karma just means action. It's nothing good or bad. You are doing a karma as you are going through life. Yes, you get an ancestral karma. That is like and some of the embryos, when they are in the mother's womb, they have got a very high frequency, and then they take birth and their frequency drops. Like there is a lot of things which is happening around the mother. And those leaves the impression on us. So, and then there is the karma of the collective, which is the environment you are in. Like you were just talking about the British were ruling India and all that. That's the karma of the collective. That also has an effect on you. But you can do the karma in the present to minimize all of those things. So what you do in the present matters a lot. So I explain it like this for a lack of so many different, like a lack of explaining. And I explain it. I said, like, say you get the ancestral karma. So it's like a balloon, and you are a little balloon inside that balloon. And then when you are doing, I don't want to say right karma, but whatever karma you are doing, that balloon is getting expanded inside that big balloon, and it's kicking out all the other karmas. So it has got less and less room in that outer balloon to carry that ancestral karma or collective karma. So
it means you got to know which one to blow.
Well, I got different definitions about that. There are ladies over here. Okay, so let's not go with the Mel Gil humor.
No, I meant the. What is wrong with? I meant the balloon. Yes. Hello.
Exactly.
I don't know where your collective minds went, but I'm talking about the balloon.
Right. So that's what, because we always have the power, our free will, which leads to our current actions, which means the current karma, not good or bad, current karma, what we are doing, always have an effect on how we live our life and how much that ancestral karma and the collective karma, and there are other kind of karmas, which are coming to us from generation. There is a karma in us, which is in us from the time we start from a cell and came into the existence and all this thing. But with the consciousness, like Pam was saying, like with the meditation, with the awareness, you can minimize that. You can actually minimize it to an extent that
why would you want to? Why would you want to minimize?
Because you want to detach if you wanted to create something, you want to detach yourself from all the other karmas which has been attached to you and not letting you live the life you want to do, because the life should be.
How do we know? How do we know what the karma is? There a test? Is there like a dipstick to say, oh, you got this kind of karma, you got, your oil level is so high,
But you don't. You don't have to know. Why you have to know? As long as you are in the current and doing the karma, you don't have to know what you are dispelling it off.
Then, if we don't know, why are we dispelling it? Yes, Pam, want to say something. No, she's blessing us.
I think she wanted to say something.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, well, that's really old school, is it? Ma'am, excuse me, I need to. Okay, from the back of the class, Pam, come on, just.
Right. So the new school is we just interrupt each other.
Sorry. Go ahead, Pam.
Thank you. So, just on the topic of karma, I just love this topic of karma. I think because we study this quite a lot through Raja Yoga meditation, and what I've learned so far, and obviously I'm very new in my studies, I confess I don't know everything, but from what I have learned so far, there are 3 types of karma. There's positive karma, So that's when you do good, and you are charitable, you're benevolent, you know, you're just like the Supreme Father, you're giving, you're full of love. So those are positive charitable actions and positive charitable karmas that bring good to yourself and good to other souls and benefit to the world. There are neutral karmas where, as Brother Ashok said earlier, karma is action. So neutral action is where there is neither harm nor benefit to either yourself or other people. So they're just neutral things. So, for example, you know, you're going to work, or you're having a cup of tea, or you're eating, etc. And then obviously there's negative karmas where, you know, obviously it's causing distress and harm, upset to yourself and others around you and the rest of the world. So we have to be very mindful of our thoughts, our actions, our deeds, everything that we do. And people sometimes refer to, this is my karma. Say, for example, you're in a distressing situation, or you're facing some hardships, or something terrible has happened to you, you've lost something. You know, you could say, oh, that could have been, you know, a result of my past karmic accounts. We've all had situations in our life. For example, let's just say you've been in an unjust situation, or something that's happened to you that you feel has been of unjust situation. You feel you haven't deserved it. Perhaps you could say, you know, that was a past karmic account. So a karma is a bit like an account that has to be settled. You can either invest in your karma and put in good investments, good actions, and then you reap the rewards of those later on. And then obviously the opposite of that is negative actions and negative karmas. And we all feel when we have negative times in our life.
What would be an example of creating or inflicting negative karma?
Oh,
example, actions that would do that.
Anger, irritation.
I'm not allowed to be angry anymore?
Well, so anger is a feeling.
Yeah.
Yes.
Natural.
So the way we test how stable we are in our spiritual growth, the test of our progress in our spiritual growth is how we feel ourselves. So if we feel some kind of and I'm not preaching here, you know, this is just a school of thought.
No, preach. I welcome preachers as well. Everyone.
Bless you. So the real
Thank you, preacher.
The real test of our spiritual growth is how we feel. So we can check in on our feelings on a regular basis to say, how do I feel? Am I feeling angry? Am I feeling irritated? Am I feeling some type of way? Because when your feelings are being affected, it means you're hurting your own soul, really.
But you see, I have a small issue with that, because as a psychotherapist, that would be true if I didn't have mental issues or mental problems, or I'm not schizophrenic, or you know, so on and so forth. But if I'm delusional as hell, then hey, how I feel, you hurt me, the whole world hurt me, I'm gonna stab everybody, you know, all of that. So somehow it seems that way. And then you have the over-religious people. Do you know what I mean? I mean, they are really over-religious. I mean, there's religious people, and they're easy to deal with, but then there are over-religious people where I'll say, oh, you know, God damn, and don't use God's name. That's not his name. Damn is not his name, although it might be, we don't know. But everybody gets so like that. And so when we talk about karma with these guys, you just can't let your karma run over their dogma. Otherwise, we'll have problems, yeah? So it'll be a little bit difficult.
Well, I mean, sorry. Go ahead, Ben.
Sorry.
No, everybody's sorry.
You know, raise hand. Okay.
Yeah, do the pan thing. I like that. Raise your hands. Just Bless you. If you're even if you're ignored, you get blessed.
Okay. Nisha wants to say something.
If you're tuning in right now, we're having fun in the studio talking to Dr. Nisha Rani. And of course, yours truly with Ashok Thakur, who used to be the Shy Shaman of New York, now known as the dancing guru, and he's gonna allow you to release your energies. And we're also joined by Pam Queen, who is giving us some insights. She is the mother of Dr. Nisha Rani. So you'll notice that when mom speaks, the child keeps very quiet. I noticed that a little bit. Yes. They have to. Yes, she taught us we have to raise our hands so we feel good. If you want to join in the discussion, you can, of course, very easily. I will post the link right now. All you have to do is click on that link, and you are. Well, maybe you're not, because I screwed up. But that's easily fixed. I'm going to put the link in there one more time. And if you're listening on Facebook, all you have to do is click on that. If you're listening on YouTube, all you have to do is click on that, and I will bring you in. You'll be in the background. And if you want to share your thoughts and contribute to the topic today, ancestral trauma and transmuting them, all kinds of pain and bad experiences that have happened to you, either as a person, a soul, or as a species, not a species, a tribe or racial group or whatever. It goes back so many years. Please just click on that and you'll join us and we'll discuss. So you were saying something. I interrupted somebody, Pam. Please go ahead. Finish that thought.
I think Nisha wanted to say something. So
she did. She did raise her hand.
Dr. Rani.
Yes.
Dr. Rani.
Dr. Rani.
Hello?
Mom has volunteered you.
Okay. So my mom and I have had these discussions when it comes to anger, because when we look at not just anger, but all emotions that are seen to be so-called negative or toxic, and yes, we do know that anger can cause disease in the body if you keep it in your body too long. So something that you said about Ashok was that he now teaches people how to express certain things. So I think it's very important when it comes to being aware of certain emotions that do come up, embrace and acknowledge them, because they are also part of your human nature. However, be very, very careful, and I know this personally, we all know this, that in moments of so distress or when our environment is safe to us, it can be very, very easy to lash out in our primal, using those primal emotions and those, using anger or being irritated, things like that. But what's important is that we learn to channel those in a healthy way, and we also don't repress them, because repressed emotions get lodged in the tissues. They get lodged in our bodies. So that's a skill that comes with time. And we've had discussions about this when it comes to anger. And yeah, our issues are in our tissues.
What a good title for a book.
Yeah.
What a great idea. I love that.
Yeah, so
Dr. Bruce Lipton.
Our issues are in our tissues.
Yeah, and there's also a saying that says the body can't hide what the soul feels.
Say that one more time slowly.
The body cannot hide what the soul feels. So if things are lodged within our energetic bodies, our spiritual bodies, after some time, the body is sure to manifest in symptoms in dis-ease and disbalance. So when it comes to so-called negative emotions, it's very important to be able to channel things. So if you are somebody that is, you have an anger, maybe find healthy ways to channel that. Maybe go boxing, try martial art, but be very wary of the intention when it comes to doing so-called acts, whether it's in violence or whether you're doing it to better your body. Again, very, very mindful of your intention about how you are releasing that.
A lot of people project those emotions on other people as well, especially those they are quote unquote disagreeing with, or their expectations have not been met. Have you noticed that?
Sorry, could you repeat?
Some people project their emotions on others. Like example, I'll use me as an example. People will project their anger emotions onto me because I don't match their expectations of what I say, what I do, and etc., etc., etc. Do you find this happening in your life? Or family? Or
yeah, I mean, I do find that happening. And
how do you deal with it?
So sometimes it's not always easy. Sometimes you can find yourself matching that energy in order to connect with the person. And other times you are a little bit more aware, and you take a standpoint that is detached from the situation. And this is the optimal way to interact with in such circumstances. So the best way is to detach and just be aware of the projection, as though for example, that person is emitting a laser beam. Now, if you think of so-called projections of emotions, whether they be joy, anger, aggression, irritation, gratitude, we can visualize them as projections of beams. Okay? And when you become aware of what that person is projecting, you also know that a filter has just been put on top of the lens. And it's not the projector itself, it's just the filter or the beam that they're choosing to project. But when you are around that type of energy, it's important to stay grounded in your calmness and your stability. Now, we all know that's been done, but that is the way. That is the way.
When you are caught in that situation, what do you focus on? What does Nisha Rani focus on? What thought is in her head? What mindset does she evoke to be able to survive that?
It's important to know the root of why that person might be projecting that, whether it's their past traumas, whether it's something that you yourself has triggered in that person. So in that situation, it's important to know the root. And when you understand the root, then you can extend your compassion.
Mm-hmm.
So
what if they're just idiots?
We can all be idiots, can't we?
What if they're stupid?
We can all be stupid.
No, that particular person. Bless you too, Pat. Go ahead. Just dive in, Pat.
Shall we let Mom dive in?
Yes, of course. Please, Pam, come.
Oh, yeah, I was just trying to unmute myself. So yeah, I think Nisha...
I have to do that in real life with people too.
So I think Nisha said a very important word, and I would like to focus on this word. The word is detached and detachment. So when we start having feelings, whatever type of feelings, when we start feeling uncomfortable. So when we're checking in on ourselves and somebody around us may trigger an emotion in us that makes us feel uncomfortable. So this is the measure when we know that, you know, I'm starting to get irritated or upset or angry. You know, we start to feel this feeling of uncomfortableness. So that's where you become a detached observer.
Hard to be detached if you're married to the person. Right? If you're married to them, or they're a family member like a father or mother or something like that. That would be very tough.
Isn't it? Hindsight is a very good thing. You see, these things we learn after the situation.
After, yes. And then they show up again and we go, oh, I can't wait for this to become hindsight again.
Yeah, you see their face. You see their face and something triggers again. I know the feeling. Nisha Nisha will tell you. But the practice is, and it's about self-mastery really. So it's this journey about self-mastery. So it's not an easy overnight quick fix thing. And it's all about our journey to become our pure innate selves. So one of the, so becoming a detached observer is a tool to help you on this journey of self-mastery, if you like.
I see.
And one of the things that you might wish to discuss and open up a discussion on is, are the people around you, can you get along with the people around you? If the people around you are making you feel uncomfortable or making your feelings of a negative nature, you know, angry, upset, irritated, what is that? You know, could it be that the people around us in our lives are our test of our progress on our spiritual journey? So
for some of us, it's like everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. So, for example, if our ultimate aspiration is to become Zen,
yes,
and be absolutely calm and unshakable in every situation, then perhaps people in our lives that or come into our lives or come into our situations are there to show us something that we need to work on ourselves as well. And this is a topic of discussion, you know, do they act as a mirror and do they act as a test for the progress that we need to make in our own spiritual growth?
So we're calm until we meet them again. Zen and now. It's a whole different thing altogether.
Now and Zen.
Yeah, now and Zen. What do we do? Deepa Sapra says that Vairagya, non-attachment, that was the theme of today's session, is how to be non-attached and how to separate from ancestral trauma and its effect on you, especially if it's negative. But if it's positive, has there ever been a positive effect for ancestral trauma? Like, not trauma, the ancestral memory. Yeah. Ancestral memory, genetic memory. Has there ever been a beneficial effect?
Of course.
What would those beneficial effects be? Does anybody know?
So, for example, let's think about evolution. If you believe in evolution, let's say that, and I think I used this example last time. So, say for example, you have a mother duck, and she has to cross a road.
I love the way you said that. A mother duck. Yes.
A mother duck.
Duck. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. Go ahead.
See that the expression is so much different. It brings
it just sounds so sexy the way you said it. Okay,
when she said earlier,
the mother duck.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry. Let's get back to the duck.
No, I was just going to make a point. I said the language makes it so much sexier sometimes, because when she said when we are not to 7, and I was like, because we say 0 to 7, but it's not to 7 on that.
I heard naughty 7. but that was very cool too. Either way,
we were not talking about
she
you.
is going to be my voiceover for everything I write from now on. I'm so sorry. We interrupted the duck story. Sorry.
Yeah. Let's go back to duck.
So,
To the duck set.
So, when, for example, if there is a mother duck and she is crossing, she has to cross over to get from one side of a park to get to the pond that she needs to be in. Now, if she suffers like a road traffic accident, because we know now that, you know, as humans, we've built roads over nature and all of the beautiful things in the world. If in her genome she carries a signal that will cause the ducklings to be more aware of this road and a little bit more weary, this can be seen as a positive effect of her going through that trauma, because the aim of so-called mutations and you know, when it's changed or switched on, mostly the optimal aim is so that we can keep improving as a species, keep improving and improving and improving,
and survive. Yeah.
And survive. Yeah. And
so in this case, it's the opposite of why did the chicken cross the road? Why did the duck not cross the road? Because exactly. Ancestral memory. Okay, great.
Well, I mean,
all right, got it.
Good ancestral karma will be like if you are born to Bill Gates, you don't have to worry about money for the rest of your life, right? So that's a good ancestral karma, right?
Yeah.
As far as finances are concerned, you may be totally screwed up as a person otherwise, but the karma has affected certain aspects of your life, not as a whole, because as a whole we have to become something different than, okay, I got enough money, or I got enough love in my life, or whatever it is. But that's how the, I mean, for me, like I grew up in a small town in India, in Punjab, very conservative and everything. And then there was a karma of that place. In fact, there was the karma of my parents, because I was born into a Punjabi family, and this is what you can do, and this is what you can't do, and all those restrictions on that. And I did not like that karma, because like in that small town, like if you like even go out with your cousin sister to the market, people will start talking about different things, because they're like, what is going on over here? They're hanging around all the time. And I said, I like this place. So I moved out from that place to America, where I said, okay, I like that particular part of the karma, but then there was another thing which I messed up, and there are another things which I like it in that collective karma. So it affects, yeah.
If you go south in America, they also marry their cousins as well, right. Just to let you know, depending how far south you want to be.
Absolutely. That's why I don't want, never, I mean, not never, it's not right, but I don't use the word good or bad karma. A karma is just a karma, what you are doing, because, I mean, we all carry that. I mean, the thing is, when we are passing through life, we are supposed to, like, the things are supposed to come into our life and go away. Like, so if you are driving a car, there are trees and there is the traffic and this, and you keep on driving it. They come and pass. They are not stuck in there. But see, if you see, when you are driving, you see a particular kind of a car, say blue Toyota or something like that. And that is the car which was owned by your ex-girlfriend, and she gave you a lot of tortures. that does not pass through that, like the trees and the roads and the traffic. That gets stuck in you because it triggers something inside you because she did bad, and you keep on talking and thinking about that. And what happened at that point is you don't see the trees, you don't see any of the other things because you're stuck. It actually brought out a trauma in you. The triggers are like a trigger in you, and all those traumas, whatever happens in our life, they are lodged into our cell memory, which we call it sanskara. Like in Indian terminology, we use this lot of these words like this. Your sanskara is like that. That is the stuck energy. But what we are supposed to do, and we have a mechanism where the things which we don't like in a particular time, we try to hide them and say, okay, that doesn't kind of exist. We kind of push them under the rug, but they do exist. They come out, and then they are messing our life all the time. And that's
hard to put a Toyota under the rug, though. But so Toyota motto is "What a feeling."
Yeah, I know.
By the way,
I don't know what they were feeling in that car, though.
No, they're always jumping up and saying, "Hey, what a feeling." And it wasn't about ex-girlfriend, but yeah.
So we were taught, or whether we were taught or we made it that mechanism that the bad feeling, we are not supposed to feel it. We are supposed to throw it under the rug, and that's why.
That's the question I'm asking. How do you get rid of it? I mean, you can't throw it away or put it under the rug. What is the step by step way in which you do it? And my ex, by the way, drives a Mitsubishi, not a Toyota. And so the way I dealt with it was to rename it Mrs. Bitchy. But it's a little different story.
Yeah, that brings up many other feelings into your mind.
Oh, no, I laugh a lot.
Yeah, that you replace that with this laughing.
Yes.
You replace the negative emotion with a positive one. And that's what
and I cannot wait to see another car on the road like that. So
there you go. I mean, that's why you are a Yoda. So it's a wrong teachings to the people, what all these people are saying, and say you're supposed to get rid of your anger, you're supposed to do this, you are supposed to feel everything. Actually, I had that happen so many times in my life, and I say, okay, I'm going to feel it. Like one of my very close friends, we used to hang around all the time. She left New York and she has gone to Miami. Actually, she's back in New York today, so she may be listening. But when she left, I felt sad, and so I did a post or something. Like I said, oh, my friend left, New York, and then I get so many responses, not even on the social media, and I wasn't trying to convey that, but I got it personally, like, because I know so many people. They call me, they say, how are you feeling? I said, I'm feeling perfectly fine.
So your way of dealing with that is to express it on social media for general public to...
Not on social media. I did not say I'm feeling bad. I said my friend left, and it's always when somebody leaves you, you have a lingering energy which you have to process. And
but that's for the rest of us, though. I mean, the only time I feel bad when somebody leaves me is at the restaurant, and I have to pay the bill when they leave.
Yeah,
so it's a little bit different.
I mean, that's a different energy for you, And everybody is saying, "Oh, I'm sorry." I'm like, no, don't feel sorry. I mean, I can come out of that how I'm feeling in 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes. But I want to feel that, right?
You want to feel it,
I want to process that, so it becomes like all the other things which are coming and getting. Things are supposed to come in and go out, whatever those feelings are. And once
for a lot of people, going through that feeling just surfaces the pain, and they rehash it like and all of that. Bless you too, man. And and at the same time, it creates this energy. What do you call it? Like emotional masturbation when you start focusing on negative energy. Nisha, you wanted to say something. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I have a question. for both of you. So you, Mel, as a psychologist, a psychotherapist, but also for you, Ashok. We mentioned about detachment, and you said that, you know, the only time that you feel unhappy when somebody leaves you is in the restaurant. Go outside. And you, Ashok, said that it's important to feel when you might be feeling, what's the word?
Abandoned.
So it's natural for people to feel abandoned.
Which leads into separation anxiety and many other feelings.
Yeah. Now, what is the, how do we keep a balance between being human and feeling those human natural emotions, because we are social beings, and the feeling that comes with abandonment actually pushes us to seek that social interaction, doesn't it? That's why we have it. But then how do we...
She's addressing you, Ashok.
She said you as a psychologist first.
No. She just went past me like really fast in that same Toyota, and she was like heading in your direction with that Toyota.
And how do we balance the detachment from also honoring our feeling of being abandoned and wanting the connection?
So we are not supposed to detach ourselves from the things, because that wouldn't make us human. And then can you imagine? I say you come to me and you say, I'm so much in love with this guy. I said, detach yourself from it. Okay, but then
detach parts of yourself from it.
Yeah, well, what parts we will talk on another show. But
I'm talking about the heart.
I know that. That's what I'm saying. But the thing is, see that we try to make fun, and Nisha is so serious about it. She's like listening to the wisdom.
No, but she's used to me and saying, "Oh God, there he goes again." She had a stick usually on me right now.
So it is like I say, you are totally in love.
Did you see the eye roll? That was amazing. Sorry, go ahead, Ashok. I'm sorry.
Back to the question.
No, so you are totally in love with this person, and I said, okay, Nisha, that's great. You're feeling these great feelings, but I want you to be detached from him so that you don't get hurt or something. Can you imagine? Then you cannot even love that person if you do. So we are not supposed to be detached from the persons or the emotions. We are supposed to be detached from the outcome. Okay, so when you are with that person, you are totally attached to that person. You're totally in love. You totally surrender yourself to that feeling, but you are not attaching yourself to the outcome. Okay, if I marry him, he has got blue eyes, my kids will have blue eyes, and where are we going to live, and all those things, because that is the future which you don't know. It's okay to desire that future, but it's not okay to be so much attached to that future. But we are supposed to feel all these things because we are supposed to love. And there is no better feeling than love. Actually, I remember something. There was a movie I watched way back. The movie was The Adjustment Bureau. And see that if you want to see that. I saw that movie exactly so much in a different way than any of my friends saw that. Because in that movie, the God has got his agents. Did you see that movie? Did anybody saw that movie? So the God, like the little thing, it's like a.
You're talking about the movie with the Coke bottle. The gods must be crazy.
No. I know that movie. It's the Adjustment Bureau. The God has got his agents because this guy who is like nobody, he is supposed to become the president of America and change the world.
With Matt Damon, yeah.
Yeah, right? And then he said, but if he meets this girl, he will be so emotionally attached And then he wouldn't be able to do all these changes in the world, which are good for the collective, good for the humanity. So he sent his agents and say, make sure he never meets that girl. And eventually, like with this certain circumstances, they meet it and then they fall in love. And God says, like, how the heck you couldn't do this simple job? And the agent says, because when the love comes into the picture, we are helpless. We lose all our powers. So telling somebody,
also when it rains, they lose their power.
Yeah, well, it's what I got out of it. Like, people got different things. No, people did not even see it that way. But like, what a message. So if we are telling people to detach from love, like if you look at the people who don't have love in their life, even their skin is dry and they are mad and they are angry, and okay, Dr. Gill.
No, bless you with your dry skin and everything. But
I was thinking you want me to read your palm or something.
Oh no, I was blessing you, in case you didn't pay attention to that as well. But the thing is, in that movie, the single line that made all the difference in the world, and I think the moral of the story, is that no matter what your quote unquote destiny is, when love is in the picture, destiny changes. I mean, two people walk a different path because they make a difference when they come together. Sometimes they become reactive and they start to fight and nothing goes well, and they're all friction all along the way, sets up a lot of fires and what have you. And other times it's just smooth as anything. You don't have to say anything. Just look in the sunset, keep quiet, and you're both okay.
So whenever two people or more than two people, for example, whenever two people get together, their energy commingle, there is the intersection. So think this is my energy circle and this is Pam's energy circle. And when we meet each other or we talk with each other, they intersect. There is a point of intersection in there between those two.
There's a common language between all three of you. Wow. Right. Okay, right. Good.
But that
and there you go. There you go. Wow, her heart is bigger and hollow. Okay. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
You said hollow in the negative sense. I say hollow means there is a lot of room in there for all of us to get in there.
Well, that's what I mean. Hollow is good.
Right. So
can't do anything if it's not hollow.
There is the energy in there, and when some two people get together, and then, like, say you are in love. Like, I have realized it many times in love, because I fall in love. I know you are going to say this is a bad word. Why you fall in love?
No. Ashok is very clumsy in love. He falls in love a lot, just a lot, and which is very good, by the way.
So that is because my heart is open. Like, I'm not concerned about somebody is going to hurt.
And other parts too, not just the heart, but yeah.
Of course, that goes with it. So once you are in there, and I have seen it like so many times, when two people get together, they can create so much more, like whether in a positive sense or a negative sense. That's why, like, some people, I don't even know how some people go to the clubs and hook up for a night, like one. Do you understand hook up? I don't know whether in British,
like it relates to fish and chips, like
Yeah, in America, people use that.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
What does that mean, Ashok?
So when it's a one night stand with somebody,
like a table light thing, a one night stand on the side of the bed. Oh, okay.
Absolutely, I think but then I say that is like a sure way of messing yourself up, because now you entangled your energy with somebody else. There is a lot of energy exchange, and no matter what you do, and it's scientifically proven, like they say, once you have sex with somebody, it never goes away through your life. Like whether you break up or whatever you do, there is a residual lingering energy which keep on messing you up. So you have to be very careful about these energies.
When you want to shut up everybody in the room, all you have to say, it's scientifically proven. Anyway, but it's good.
Yeah,
I think Nisha raised her hand first, and then Pam after that. Nisha,
just a small thing to add, and you can carry on, because I'm very interested in what you're talking about. It's some theories say that the woman's uterus, the woman's insides actually shed. So we all know that our cells are continually growing, our skin sheds. And it said that the woman's womb takes 6 months physically, that's the physical womb. But then you have the energetic body, and it takes a different time for residuals to cleanse. But it's individual to the person. Be aware of how to use energetic body. Are we keeping attachments with that person that we've had that encounter with through mental bonds? Are we constantly thinking about the person, thinking about the encounter? So it's very relative to the person. It's relative to the encounter as well. How strong was that energy? Was it a highly compatible encounter? And in those highly compatible encounters, usually it's harder to get rid of the energy. So it depends on the encounter. It depends on the people involved, because our different types of body, the physical body, the energetic body, the spiritual body, takes different amounts of times to get rid of these things. But I'm going to let you continue because
Pam wanted to add something to that too.
No, that's fine. I'm happy for Mr. Ashok Brother Ashok to carry on, and I'd like to hear the rest of this conversation before
let me add the science to this before Ashok continues. A woman receives a man's DNA, sperm, in her womb, uterus, and for some strange reason, we have encounters, and genetic tests are thrown off by this. It's called chimerism. Chimerism, where the woman shows more DNA, the child of the woman shows more DNA than just the father's DNA. And so it's mixed up. And you'd be very surprised that the child that you have, especially if you're a person that likes to give me a
fool around,
sleep around, and sounds like the words of a song. Fool around, baby. We get around. That's a song by the brothers, you know, Beach Boys, right? We get around, and so they sleep with, say, 13, 14 partners. The child shows the DNA of almost everybody she slept with. That's amazing. Chimerism. Look it up. It's a real thing. Sorry, Ashok, go ahead. Complete.
No, I was going to say that, like like Nisha said, there is the physical body, and then there is the emotional body, and then
the etheric body, yeah,
and it keeps in there no matter what you say. So that's why I say you just don't be casual about these things. Just know.
Be quite formal about it.
Well, no, because see what are the person's energy is, and whether you want to mingle in that, because some of them, like as Nisha said, like some of them are very strong. So it's like when I was telling you, this is your circle, this is mine, and some of them the intersection is very small. Some of them is you get totally engulfed in that one, and then you feel what they feel, and you take on that energy. So you have to be very careful about how you deal with it, because like you are not supposed to carry, not supposed to, but we do, like all this. Now we have got all this mess with us, okay, like a potpourri of everybody we knew and everybody we did, and that's why in some of the things, like in some of the culture, like especially like if you go to the Indian culture, they don't have this. They are like, okay, like you're supposed to be with this one person, and that's what it is. That's ancestral karma too. You have to, like, if you so when they say that, they knew about those energies, right? So they are like, okay, this is the energy. You cannot keep on sleeping with all that many people, because you are going to carry their mess with you, and that is going to define your life, right? Not, I'm not practicing or promoting anything like one culture over the another, but there are some good things in some culture. And then we come to America or to Western countries, and it's a whole different environment. Like your kid says, Mom, why can't I do this? And why can't I do this? And why can't I do this? And it's a whole different environment. So that's when you start doing those karmas and minimizing that ancestral karma if you think that is not serving you. So there's a lot of moving factors in this whole thing. And the karma is a very, so when you were talking about like, how do we do that? We can change it with the love. When we think about those emotions, we can change it like that. That's why I brought in the example of that movie. But there are a lot of other things which you can do. Like once you become aware, or if you meet somebody who makes you aware, and that could be a guru or teacher or Dr. Mel Gill or whoever that is. But when somebody make you aware of that, let me give you a little story, short story. It's a long story. I'm going to cut it short because my life wouldn't be defined without this story. So there was this girl, when she was born, like we say in India, the Brahma, the creator, write your destiny on your brain, so that like that is set DNA, right? So for whatever reason, the Brahma wrote on her that she will, for all her life, she will have one pearl necklace and nothing else, and she will sell her body every night. Right, that was her karma. So she grew up, and then she became this prostitute, and she will sell her body, and she didn't have anything. She will earn a little bit of her money, and then that money she will spend. It wasn't even enough for her. But she had this pearl necklace, which her grandma gave it to her, but she's not doing anything with it. She's not even wearing it because she's like, this is the only thing I have. So then she met somebody who was more cautious, like Dr. Mel Gill, and he said, oh, that's not good, that you have to sell your body your rest of your life and you don't have nothing. So he decided that he's going to help her to change her karma. So this is what he did. He said, let's change your karma. This is what you are going to do. Every night, you are going to go into the market and you are going to sell that pearl necklace. And all the money you get out of that, you are going to spend it all in feeding poor people, helping other people, and doing all those nice things. But make sure you don't have anything left out of that, right? And the second thing which you are going to do tomorrow, when somebody, one of your clients, comes in and knock on your door, you are going to tell them, I'm not sleeping with you for little money. I'm only going to sleep with if you get me a pearl necklace. Right, so this happens. The next day, she goes out, she sells her pearl necklace, she distributes the money, she helps the poor, feedless people, and then next day comes in, and the thought comes into her like, now I don't have anything. That's what this person said. She's totally dedicated. So what she does is she comes back, and next night when there is a knock on her door, like people are coming in, she said no. She put in a sign over there. She said, I'm only going to be sleeping with the person who will bring me this expensive pearl necklace. So there was this one rich guy who brought her the pearl necklace, right? And she kept on repeating this story every day because that guy fell in love with her, because nobody else could afford this pearl necklace. So she fell in love with this. This is the only guy who can bring her a pearl necklace every day, right? Because her destiny was that she's going to have that pearl necklace. Now, how you created the actions in this life is what decided. Now she's this known lady who is so philanthropic. Like every night she helps all these people, and she has a love in her life with this big lord or something. So we can change all those things.
I heard of her. She's the CEO of the Pearl Foundation, and she helps all the aging hookers and things like that, and people that need help.
But like that was
just making it up, but it's a good story.
There are a lot of stories. That's when I teach tell people when they tell me, oh, I can't change my bad karma, I'm like, let me tell you the story about the necklace. And so now she has always have a necklace, and she has love in her life, and she's helping so many people.
Wow. I need to find some pearls. Pam, yes, bless you too. You wanted to say something.
Yeah, I loved listening to your talk and everything that both Brother Ashok and Nisha were saying earlier. I had one little message for Brother Ashok was don't fall in love, fly in love.
Yeah.
Okay.
So don't fall, just fly and elevate yourself in love.
As you say that, he's thinking about the takeoff and the landing at the same time.
It should make you fly.
When you fall in love, when you fly in love, you take off.
Yes.
A lot of things are taken off, but when you land, that's going to be the interesting part.
Yes.
I suppose there are many takeoffs and landings as well, right?
That's it. And the interesting, I think there's a saying by Einstein about something about falling in love. I can't remember it now, but I was just going to give him a message to say fly.
Falling in love is not the fault of gravity, is what he says.
Something like that, yes.
Something to that effect.
That's right.
That's the guy. That's the guy behind me here.
Yes. Yes, of course. Yes, just notice that.
Yeah. The saying is simply this: is I want to know God's thoughts. The rest are details.
Yeah. So it's interesting that we mentioned Einstein, and you have a picture of him. My son is a budding artist, just like Nisha, and he's done a self-drawn portrait of Einstein. So he's actually done a drawing. But
I love that. Fly in love.
Yes, we digressed onto Einstein.
No, your mother said something very important, Nisha. She said, "Don't fall in love, fly in love." Unless you are a fly, then that's a different meaning altogether.
That was a message for you, Nisha. She was telling you, like, she's a fly in love, Nisha.
She's
for everybody. Message for everyone.
I heard it.
I know.
Very good.
I mean, the thing is, and I know that's when I was saying falling in love. I'm like, okay, rise in love or whatever. I was trying to preempt all of those. The issue is, how do you express something with the language which is inexpressible? So you have to take the familiar words which people understand. And that's how you try to explain it. But like once you become aware, you know what everybody means. Like my assistant, like she was like, I would come in and she's like, you look very happy. I said, because I'm in love. She was like, what are you in love with? Like I said, I'm in love with this girl. Like, and she said, she said to me, like, but yesterday you told me you were in love with this another girl. I said, yeah, I'm in love with her too. And she fought with me so hard. She was like, you can't say that. I said, I love everybody. Like she said, but you can't say that because people get the wrong impression, because that is their brain is wired and filtered in such a way that the words, when we use certain words, they make another conclusion, So that's, and the love is such a special emotion that it is like actually difficult to describe, because how you describe something which is not described.
We love in moments, not with words. And I think it was the Buddha that said, like he said to somebody, one of his disciples, he said, like the moon, come out from behind the clouds and shine. And when you do that, then people will recognize you. You don't have to work so hard. Love finds you. You don't have to find it. And it just becomes. And if you have no quote unquote love, then you have to be a little bit more open. Sometimes the person you have to love is in the mirror. It's right in front of you. Or it can be another woman. It can be another, if you're a man, another man. It could be, like I said, a camel. Who knows? Who knows?
It could be a camel. You can fall in love with a camel. Your favorite example.
Bless you. Because you said that, Nisa blesses you for that. By the way, if you're tuning in right now, we're in conversation with 4 very interesting people and very wise people, and this conversation is based all over the planet. I am in Singapore. Nisha Rani is in Bulgaria. Pam is in London, not London, just outside London. One of those. What city is that? Sorry, say it.
Leicester.
Leicester. And Ashok is in New York City, in the UK. Yeah.
It sounded luster. I said, "Oh, that's a nice place to be in." Everybody is lusting around.
we hear what we want to hear. So
filter everything.
So if you have any questions for my guest this evening, all of them, please type it out here or type it out in Facebook, and I'll be able to see you. For those listening on YouTube, I apologize. I still haven't found a way to put YouTube live so you'll be able to see it until I fix this other computer next to me. So you were continuing. Somebody was talking about the ability to love. We came full circle from trauma, ancestral trauma, to having many partners, to love, to so
I mean, it's if you look at it, like everything is going through our filters. Okay, go ahead, Nisha.
No. Nisha was blessing us.
Are you blessing me, or you want to talk?
No, she
does.
I
want to ask something actually.
Okay, go ahead.
So, different people have different perceptions when it comes to love. So we have universal love, you know, something that we all feel, like maybe more platonic, and then you might have a romantic love. And you said, you know, you went into the office and you said to your colleagues that, oh, I'm really happy to say I'm in love. And you'd said the same thing the other day about somebody else. And it's another topic, and it touches on polyamory, being in love with more than one person at one time. Just your thoughts about that, because in certain cultures, for example, harems and marriages to multiple people is normalized. So it would be very interesting what your thoughts on that would be.
I think a person should be able to choose what they like to do. I don't believe in this, because these are cultural and social things that you cannot love romantically love more than one person, or you can. If that suits your style and that makes you happy and that makes you fulfilled, then you can do that. I mean, I've got no judgments about any of these things, like whether you should be monogamous or whether you should be polyamory, or whether you want to be in an open relationship. I said, if it makes you happy and it makes you fulfilled and desires, your wishes are to do that, then do that. I mean, eventually you are going to realize, like, all of these things doesn't matter. It's the love for yourself which matters. All the other things are just like stops along the journey to get to that point where you love yourself. We try to so we fall in love with this one person and we think we are going to spend the rest of our life with this person, and that doesn't work out. So that hurts you, and then you try again, that hurts you. Then you're like, okay, why am I falling in love with one person? I can be in love with multiple people. And then you try that, and that hurts too. It's all about that. The love is not supposed to be sought. Like you are not supposed to get it externally. Once you get the internal love, then it does not matter really whether you are in a romantic relationship with one person or two or whatever. I mean, we have an example, like if you look at it, like a Krishna in the Hindu culture, like how many females he was with. And actually it's a funny story.
He didn't love them. He didn't love them. He had sex with them.
Well, that's your interpretation, though. Nobody knows that. So,
it says.
So, and that is actually interesting. I will tell you a story. Like
wait. Before you tell the story, I just want to get some clarification. You said love yourself, But if I have dissociative identity disorder, multiple personalities, and I love myself, and so would that be polyamory?
Yeah, right. But yeah, if you have 20 different personality like Anthony Hopkins, yeah, then yes. But hopefully you don't have that many. But I mean, the interesting thing is like when I was in America, like I like try to work through all these ancestral karmas and everything and release them and this and that. And then I've got a lot of friends, and then my niece was with my mother, and she said, "Oh, you are on the social media." My mom said, "Like you converse with him. How is he doing?" So she said, "Oh, you can see it yourself." So she gave her phone and she looked at the Facebook, and my mom said, "Why he's with so many women?" And she said, "I don't know. Maybe you should ask him." And I've gone to my mother. My mother was so mad at me, right? She said, "How can you even do that?" And I said, "Mom, what are you talking about?" She said, how are all these women around you?" And I sat down, and because that was her filter, that was her ancestral karma. And I said, "Mom, but you watch TV every day, this 1-hour program where the Krishna is with all these women, right? And you worship him. So how does that make me any different from that?" And
you're not a god.
He wasn't a god either, though.
He wasn't?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So this is what my mom told me. Like, let me finish that, Nisha, for a second. Okay. So this is what my mom told me. She said, but they were her Krishna's senses. Like we have got eyes and ears, and they were his energetic senses. So he wanted to feel and sense what all these women are feeling at a particular point of time, and that was his way. I said, so I'm like that too. My mother never questioned me after that. But I want to go to Nisha. She wanted to ask something.
So, so when you spoke about your mom asking you why you are around so many females and everything like that, and we spoke before about intercourse and being conscious and aware of what we are fusing our energy with.
What or who?
Maybe both, depending on whatever.
And my camel has a chance.
So do you think we also have to be wary of our energy, even if it's not in the setting of intercourse, but just interactions with people or who we're spending time with? Because, there's two sides to the argument. One side could say that, oh, it doesn't matter who you meet, just emit love and be loving to everybody you meet. And then on the other scale, there is, be aware of how you're using your energy, be aware of who you give your energy to, be aware of who you allow into your energetic space. So what is your thought on that?
I'm very conscious about who I hang around with, who are my friends, and who do I have a relationship with. I'm very, very conscious, very selective, actually, more selective than what people think. I let go of the energy. What started happening from the time I got all this awareness, the people whose energies, I don't want to say bad, but whose energies are not elevated in a sense like that, they will be compatible. They don't even come into my feed. They just stay away. Like I sometimes wonder, like, why this person is just away. So the only people who are coming into my vibration is whose vibration matches with mine. So I'm very selective in who are my friends and who do I love.
You just got blessed again.
Blessed
by Pam and by Nisha and me too. I might as well bless you with that as well at the same time. Unlike Ashok, I am less discerning. I am with everybody and I let them into my space because I told Nisha this a long time ago. I don't know if you remember, even when you talked about someone sucking your energy from you, because they're negative, they're this, to that. And then I ask you the difference between a big magnet and a small magnet. Who is attracting whom? Who is influencing whom? And usually it's the bigger magnet that affects all the smaller magnets around you. So if you feel that, then you need to become endless. Come from source, become source. And at that point, it doesn't matter who you're with. Even if they're sucking energy from you, it's fine. Even if they do it negative, it's fine. Until it gets dangerous. Dangerous meaning they're throwing things around and da-da-da-da-da and all the other things. That means they have to be in a mental institute. So both you and Pam had something to say.
I didn't have anything to say. I just
want to bless it.
No, I just find it really endearing. So I was blessing everybody back in return.
So she just blessed you. Thank you so much for what you said. That's awesome. And Pam, you were gonna say something to Brother Ashok? I like that. Brother Ashok.
Yeah, very clear like I call it very clear boundaries.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
It was so in our Raj Yoga meditation, we see other souls as brothers and sisters to maintain some self-respect.
So, but if you get married to them, do you still call them brother?
Well, that's a different subject. It depends if you're already married. So.
Oh, okay.
So just a couple of things, I think, from what you were saying. First of all, I was making some notes as you were talking, because there were some really interesting points. So you mentioned Krishna, and so Krishna wasn't a god. He's regarded as a deity. So in the Golden Age, we have various deities, such as Radha and Krishna. When they get married, they become Lakshmi and Narayan. And so they're the original deities, and deities are regarded as elevated humans, if you like. That
demigods.
Elevated humans.
You don't like that word, god or demigod?
You would not. I suppose my understanding is that they're not regarded as gods. They're regarded as deities, and a deity is an elevated soul who possesses all the virtues and powers that make them worthy of worship, in the sense that they are so pure, so benevolent, so they have all there's about 16 different powers and virtues, which I've got a list of here, but I won't go through them right now.
You mean they have all of these virtues, which you're going to tell us some of them, and they are also horny at the same time and make love to 1,000 women.
Well, I don't know about that bit.
Oh, we don't know about that.
I don't know about that bit.
We have no idea about that.
My study hasn't
come to that level yet. Yeah.
No. So and this links into the topic of love and self-respect.
Sure.
So if we consider ourselves to be on the spiritual journey of becoming like a deity, because you know about the ages, don't you? The Golden Age, Silver Age, Copper Age, Iron Age.
No, I'm still in this. I'm still in the Stone Age, though. We will need to talk about that. Yeah.
So I'll give you a very very brief sort of
Please.
in a nutshell, without sort of detracting from the topic. So there is a school of thought that the world cycle, or our soul cycle, if you like, repeats every sort of 5,000 years, and you can look this up. It's in various scriptures, it's in various spiritual research. So there's this sort of number where our soul reincarnates itself 84 times through 5,000 years, and the cycle, the world cycle or the soul cycle, is split into 4 ages: the Golden Age, or Satyug, the age where everything is pure, and then we have the Silver Age, and then the Copper Age, which is halfway through the cycle, is when when we're in the golden age and we are of our deity form, we're full of all these pure virtues, and we have all these powers, and we are regarded as being worthy of worship, such as Krishna, Lakshmi, Narayan, Radhe. What happens over time and through our 84 births, we start picking up some karmas and some sanskars, and things like ego comes into play. And when ego comes into play, that happens halfway through the cycle. So halfway through our soul journey, if you like, half the time we are pure and worthy of worship. But then it's you could think of it as an analogy, like when you buy a brand new car from the showroom, it's absolutely brand new, pristine, showroom condition. Then over the years, over time, there is wear and tear. Similar thing you could say as an analogy for the soul. Through our various incarnations, through the ages, there is wear and tear. We end up with karmas. And halfway through this cycle, so from the golden age to the silver age, so the golden age we are like deities, silver age we become warriors. And you may have seen films like the Mahabharata and stuff like that, the warrior age. And then in the copper age, what happens is ego starts coming into play, where the and you're a psychologist, you'll know about the whole ego thing and the thought of I and mine. This is mine. I am this. So the ego starts to come into play, and with the ego, you then start accumulating even more karmas through your various births. And so now
you're being blessed by two people.
Thank you. So we've been through this cycle, and you'll hear people say that we're in the Iron Age or the Dark Age, but there's actually a fifth age, a leap age, which is called the Diamond Age or the Confluence Age. And this confluence, it's a bit like a clock. It's like 5 to 12 or 10 to 12. And this confluence age opens and is the time where there is this great spiritual awakening. So we know we're connecting with a lot of souls along the globe. There is this great increase in spiritual awakening. Everybody is in the Dark Age. They're in the Iron Age. They're full of all these karmas. Everybody's experiencing sorrow and disharmony and disease. And so they're calling out to Source or the universe or God or whatever you would like to call it to come and help us, to purify us. And through this age,
God did not create all of these.
It's
just asking for a friend.
No, I don't think God creates these, because the way we create them ourselves.
We did.
So what happens is we create these through our karmas, and I might be talking, hypothetically or out of turn, or some people may agree, may not agree, or may have other schools of thoughts. But essentially, when we talk about karma, some people think that we can't change what is happening to us. So everything that we have experienced up until this day, or up until this point, has been a consequence of our past actions and our previous actions. But we can create our new karmas and change our destiny, like the lady with the pearls, the pearl necklace, from the actions that we do from today. So you have the willpower, you have the choice of free will to create your future actions. And so you could erase everything from the past with the actions that you create now. So, for example,
I agree. In fact, when Ashok said that just now, I was thinking in my mind to put a sign outside my door: "You can't sleep with me unless you bring pearls."
So it's, I would say, from my understanding, from my limited understanding, we can't put this on God's head to say God created all of this. you know, we have to accept some responsibility and some self-respect.
So we can create something that God is allowed.
Yes. So God
Oh,
gives us the knowledge. God comes. If you feel uncomfortable with using the word God,
no,
you can talk about
I'm not uncomfortable.
Yeah. So you could call it divine intervention. You could call it divine knowledge, divine intervention, universal knowledge, or spirit speaking to you. You know, any of these terms has the same effect. And when you come into this knowledge, the primary goal really is to become like a deity and cross from the Iron Age, take your boat across to your deity form.
I have a boat.
Sorry?
My boat sank a long time ago, but I'm still stuck on the shore. But Pam, I want to ask you something, because I see it glowing from your eyes. Love, a lot of love. I do. I mean, I see the same eyes in your daughter over there. I mean, it's the same. It's like looking at your eyes is like looking in her eyes. Actually,
wow, thank you.
It is.
About my eyes.
And listening. Yeah. Well, no, brother Ashok. Wait for a minute. You can be part of the family later. They'll adopt you. But But here's the thing that's important. As you're saying everything you're saying, I see a woman who's in constant discovery, constant learning, constant. She has some answers, but by no means is she like saying, "Oh, this is the answer. This is the truth." And it's like you're learning like the rest of us. That's kind of cool. Yeah, and it would be a great pleasure talking with you, because you're bendable. Yeah, that's not the word. Bendable, flexible. Thank you so much. That's what I want to say.
The power to adjust.
Yeah, bendable happens in the bedroom. That's a different story. But you're flexible. Yeah.
It's called the power to adjust. So I digressed a little bit talking about the cycle, and that we're in this age of spiritual awakening. And I wanted to talk a little bit about, just very
Can you come
quickly,
closer to the microphone? Come closer, yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah, I just want to see your eyes more. That's all.
Oh, wow.
I was still thinking about the eyes as well.
Yeah.
Can you see I've got suitcases, not bags, it's suitcases under the eyes.
Oh, no, I'm bypassing those and looking direct at the eyes.
So just to say something about love. So
sure.
I just wanted to say that love is universal power. It is the law of the universe. It is the law of attraction. And so we should always be loving, and have our cup should always be overflowing. As you said earlier, you mentioned about when you love yourself and you are full yourself, you are able to give unconditionally, and it doesn't matter if people take, because it's unconditional, and it's you don't mind giving love. But
I love when you said that our cup should be overflowing.
Yeah.
In my line of work, I meet a lot of people whose cups have overflowed, and I'm the one mopping up for them, because it kind of overflowed, and they needed to kind of conserve stuff in the cup. But what exactly is in the cup that's overflowing? I mean, exactly. So we say love, but it's so nebulous, love. I mean, what exactly are we feeling?
I think as Nisha said earlier, there's two types of love. There is the platonic type of love, where you just
the friend zone, the friend zone, and then the one who's not in the friend zone.
And then you have the obviously the romantic.
And the platonic ones did not succeed at becoming the romantic ones.
So I think
they stand by and wait.
So I think what happens, and I'll say this very, very quickly, because I know Nisha's eager to.
No, she's blessing you with every word. She's just blessing
bless you. So
yeah.
So I think coming back to our innate qualities, powers, virtues as a deity form. So I'll just tell you some of those. We have our innate qualities are peace, purity, courage, happiness, love, knowledge, unity, bliss, cooperation, power, truthfulness, respect, self-respect, fearlessness, contentment, good wishes, patience, sweetness, forgiveness, cleanliness, easiness, humility, liberation in life, and compassion. Now, if you put all of these powers and virtues together, to me, that sums up the overflowing cup, because you have all of these powers and virtues that you're able to share with other souls and give to other souls, and it's about filling your cup with all these powers and virtues, and that is the Platonic type of giving, and not to be taken advantage of. So when you're giving unconditionally, you don't have a sense of expectation or a sense of receiving something in return. So that is the overflowing.
Would you recommend that people who are having all of these deity values and everything, would you recommend that they remain single then, so that they can continue to give to the world without creating any forms of jealousy, possessiveness, etc., 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 which plague a lot of relationships?
So that's a very tricky subject, because on my own spiritual journey, as you know, trying to attain these types of virtues and powers, obviously when you're already in a relationship, you have to think about how these powers and virtues fit into relationships. So there are different schools of thoughts about whether to stay single or whether to get married. I mean, you may already be in a relationship when you're embarking on the spiritual journey, but there's nothing to stop both partners, you know, going on this journey.
I have some pearls to offer you. I don't know,
but I think the key thing is about self-respect and having self-respect. So even if you are in a relationship, it may be something that is born out of a friendship. You know, you get to know the person, and you know, then you develop the relationship. But you develop it through a stage of self-respect. So it's maintaining the self-respect
and getting familiar with them.
Yeah, and I think it's similar. I think it's touching on a point that Brother Ashok mentioned earlier, is that you have to be very aware and mindful of how you share your energy and what you give your energy to, and yes, and I think that's the important point, is about having that self-respect for yourself, and being mindful of sharing that energy with others, and how that energy then mingles. Sometimes, you know, things may not work out how we want to, and we have all good intentions, but that's another story, isn't it? That's another topic. But
I think she just let you down before you even asked, Ashok.
What do you mean?
It sounds like.
I have no idea what you guys are talking
I mean, first of all, you're a brother, and I don't think you're going to get out of that very soon.
But that's okay. That's a soul brother. You know, like when people get into the tribes, okay,
yes,
like they worship the same guru. They said, "This is my guru." You know. Okay,
yeah, as you do that again. They worship the same guru. Do that with the head tilted. Do it. One more. No, to do it one more time, because when you're doing that, do you know who's above you? Look, you're looking at Nisha as you do that. You're right below her.
We are so used to like looking up when we are talking about the God. We know there's nothing up there.
And you are. In some countries, you get arrested for that, looking up that way. But here you look up at the gods, and she's speaking at you. But like, Nisha, you wanted to say something, and you've been very patient, waiting. With all of that,
it was when we spoke about love, and we said, I think it was mentioned that there are 2 types of love, but are there maybe more types of love than that? What about the love that you have for your family?
The Greeks have 7 words for love. Filio is the word you're talking about for family love. Filio, brotherly, sisterly, like. Like Pam just said, Ashok, that's only so far you can go. You are brother. You don't go beyond that.
Yeah, well, it depends upon whether I accepted that invitation or not. That's
ooh, he just got up. He got upset by that. Bless you, brother.
I'm just talking about like I was so in when Pam was talking about and you were asking about God. So it's an interesting thing though. In India, there is not a God. They don't believe in God. They believe in these deities and all those energies, you know, like, because if you go in there, that's why in India they could create so many deities and so many, you know, like they call it avatars, you know, because there is no one God per se. If you want to create your own goddess, you can create that. That's why there are like hundreds or thousands of deities in India. Like, in fact, every village has got a Devi temple in there, because those are the energies which have been consecrated. And what happened is, like, when you say we worship Krishna or we worship this, those are the reason we do that, because those are the possibilities for a human being. And I know that we love that, because I have so many of the experiences where I was like so confused initially when I got onto this path, like why all these people are getting attracted to me. I'm not doing anything. And then I have thought, and then I came to know, and somebody did ask me, because there was this research scholar who was like trying to do a research on me. She said, nobody could be that happy, so I want to hang around with you for a week. I'm doing this research paper and see what do you do. And I said, that's fine. And that, like, after third day, she like gave up. She said, I cannot figure out any particular reason, because these people, she said, you are not doing anything. These people are just coming.
I heard about that.
Right.
Did you guys know about that research paper?
No.
They were trying to link in degrees of happiness with the frequency of sex. And so in a big control group setting, they were asking about 30 people, how many people here make love at least twice a week? And only about 30% of the people raised their hands. Well, how many people do it once a week? And some people raised their hands. And how many people here make love once a month? You know, and then the rest of the people put up their hands. But there was one man in the back, and he was Ashok, sitting in the back, and he didn't raise his hands. Because you see, frequency of sex means that, you know, you are happier if you're more frequently having sex. And so when they asked Ashok, you know, how often do you make love? He said, once a year. Then why are you so incredibly happy? And he said, tonight's the night. Tonight's the night.
Yeah, but then I realized, right? They don't love me. That's not why they are around me. They love the possibilities which they see it in me. They love the possibility that they can be like that, and that's what attracts them to me. Like how can we in that energy and be like that, so that all the good things comes to them. So it's the possibility, and that's the possibility we see. People see it in Krishna or Rama or all the deities. And what is, Pam, what is the male counterpart of deity?
Same.
Yeah, deities are male and female.
Okay, so that's why
Krishna, Lakshmi,
yeah.
Narayan.
So and the good and the bad again is like defined by our filters. You know, like where I come from, like they said, like if you eat fish and they say, oh, fish is very bad, like it's not religious if you eat fish, that's you are bringing in bad energy to you. And if all the religious times they don't eat any of the non-vegetarian stuff, but they don't even eat the fish. But then you go to the west of India and the West Bengal and those places, and the priests eat fish. So is eating fish good or bad? No, it's defined by the filters, how we grew up in certain places. Like, and it's all our programming. If yeah, sorry, go ahead.
You're blessed for saying that. Yes, Pam.
Oh, just very quickly, just talking about food. What we eat is also very important because that also carries karma. And
sorry, that's my computer.
That's
this keeps
okay.
me happy when I put in voices
Wow.
like that. It's just me.
Sorry. And Nisha is an expert on this field, actually. And we haven't touched upon this.
Which field?
The karma associated with what we eat.
Oh, okay. What we eat, not who we eat. Yeah.
Yes. So
okay.
It's a bit like the merits of becoming vegetarian and not eating meat because we're not taking in the suffering from, those animals that have suffered. And I will let Nisha talk about that if she would like to. But, there is some science and some merit in talking about, the karma in what we eat, because ultimately how we feel, and in order to purify ourselves and purify our bodies, we have to be careful of everything that goes into our senses. So we have to be mindful of what we see, what we hear, what we say, what we think, what we do, and what we eat, because all of these things, our senses are a portal to our soul. And so
there is a movie on Netflix that actually talks about what exactly you are talking about right now. It's called Game Changers. So if you watch that, it's not about the cruelty to animals and all that. They take the focus away from that. So there's no terrible, disgusting things you need to watch and all bloodied stuff. It talks about athletes and their performance and how being vegetarian changes and increases their performance and their performance levels as well. So and Nisha, you being in Bulgaria can talk to Luke about it. He's actually partially vegetarian, and he's been trying to get most of the way to build up his muscles and all of that kind of stuff. So Pam, you're right. Absolutely. It changes everything, your thoughts. From a psychotherapist perspective, I find that most, and this, again, is anecdotal because it's all in my experience, that most vegetarians are calmer than people who eat a lot of meat. I find it very aggressive, very, very aggressive. It's easy to, twist and turn their thinking, and they have no idea what's happening with them. But the calmer people are more.
So I mean, we got off onto that topic. I didn't mean, like when I was telling about the fish, I didn't mean to go into the food. Like I understand a lot of it. I was saying how our filters are defining us, and that was the obvious example I thought about. Like there are a lot of things which define us. Like say,
it's in the same stream. We talk about love and eating fish, so it's the same.
And how do you decide? Like if tomorrow Nisha comes to you, Pam, and she says, I want to marry this guy who's 30 years older than me, what will come into your mind? Right.
Ashok, she's already put you in the friend zone. I mean,
no, I'm not talking about that. See that you bring up that, yeah, but like in the other way around, when you see it, when the woman's, like many of the people, like even in the Western world, if their son comes in and now they wanted to get married to that, it's a different reaction than if a daughter comes in. Like, where does that come from? Like, those are all the things which we are carrying with us.
All her entire ancestral karma will be showing its face everywhere.
And
her mother is ready to react to that right now.
I know that. Now the mother is reacting.
Mommy is coming in and hold that thought. Hold that thought, guy. Yes, Pam.
So, in answer to that question in a nutshell,
she put you in a nutshell. Just
no.
The answer is not to be judgmental about things like age and these sorts of things. I think we have to learn not to judge people based on their colour, their age, how they look, or their career, things like this. At the end of the day, we have to make decisions based on that individual's soul, their virtues, their values. How are they as an individual? Would that person make my daughter endlessly happy?
And do they have that list or anything on that deity list?
Right?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, they got to have all of that. Yeah. So Ashok, there's a big exam to go through, Pam, first.
So it's about ensuring that, and I'm sure you would do this for your own family or your own daughter or your own sister, you know, making sure that their happiness is maintained and they're supported, and their spiritual growth is encouraged. You know, all these things as a checklist. I think things like age, religion, color, race, all these things are probably of less importance. And I know from a cultural perspective they can be, because, you know, a lot of people are conditioned to judge, you know, from a cultural perspective. But I think as we are progressing in our own spiritual growth, we learn that we must not be judgmental.
There you go, Ashok. It's not age; it's usage. That's more important than anything else. But can I say something on this topic? It's very interesting. I don't know if you remember Ronald Reagan, President of the United States. He was running against Walter Mondale a long time ago, and Mondale was like in his 40s, and here was Reagan, 71 at that time. And he was like the oldest president. And Mondale said, you know, with his age and everything else, he attacked his age, that he was so old that he's the oldest person in office and so on and so forth. And Reagan just looked down, and he was not affected. He was not triggered by the age thing. And he just looked at his opponent and he said, I just want to reassure my opponent that I don't want to step into an age war with him. His lack of experience in leading countries and companies and all of that shouldn't be put against him because he's so young. I thought that ended the debate right there.
And again, the debate on into it.
Ashok may have a lot of wisdom to share. I mean, my God, guru extraordinary. I mean, you know, started out with drugs and now on his own. But it's okay.
Yeah, that's what you like to think. But like the question, like, which we struggle with, all of us, like when you were saying, like, if you have to make a decision, you want to make sure he has got all those virtues, but that those virtues are your definition of the things. Our definition of the things may be different. Who are we to say, because we have gone through more life experiences, that the conclusions we came to are right conclusions for our daughter or our son or something? So we are always trying to learn. We can say, this is what I think, and then we hope we raise them up in a way that they can understand whatever I think is not God's word. They take their own experience in there and find out whatever is good for us, not good for them, and not good for us.
In 2 hours, we've come from ancestral trauma to just trauma.
This is just ancestral trauma, because like my mom trying to impose.
Yes, Nisha, are you just enjoying this, or just
no?
Do you have anything to say?
It's interesting. It's interesting to hear the different perspectives on everything that we've spoken about. So, by all means, carry on, Ashok.
Let's come back, everybody, to ancestral trauma, getting rid of that karma and bad karma, I guess, bad karma, or karma that is debilitating. That's even better, because I don't deal with good or bad. I deal with debilitating. If it doesn't allow you to function, I come in. That's why I come in. Otherwise, I don't walk in, Your karma is your karma. It's your business. Nothing to do with me. Yes, bless you too, my dear child.
It's interesting we talk about good karma and bad karma. We reiterated before about, the words good and bad. And linking this in to what Ashok just said about one person's set of values may be different to another person's set of values. So what I may think is moral or immoral may be what somebody else would be the total opposite thing. So how do we distinguish then between what is good and bad? I know one of the answers might be it's the intention behind things and how we do things, what we intend to do with that thing.
Do you know what psychologists do?
What do they do?
We don't say this is good, this is bad. We just say, is this useful? Is this not useful? And we have useful and not useful. That's all we have. We have no judgments about what is good or bad. If you want to have a relationship with a camel, is that useful in your current state right now where everybody's driving on superhighways and your camel might get run over, become road pizza at some point? Yes, Pam. Pam has something to say about relationships with camel.
So, yeah. So the other word I would say, rather than using the definition of good and bad, is it harmful?
Yes.
Would harm come into it? So you can.
Is it harmful? What's the opposite of harmful? Healing. Harmful and healing, right? No.
Yes.
Harm and heal.
Maybe.
Yeah. If you either harm someone or you heal them.
Yeah. So rather than it being good or bad, it's just another way of perhaps looking at it. Is it harmful?
That's
is it
definitely more useful. Yeah.
That's my little contribution.
No, it's a lot. It's a big one. Yes, Ashok.
Well, I will also say, how does that make you feel? What you're trying to do, like what you think is right. How does that make you feel? Useful and non-useful is also very important for the physical world, but like the energetically, how does that make you feel? Like if your ancestors or your cultural background say you shouldn't be having sex before marriage, okay, how does that make you feel? Does that make you feel constrained? Does that make you feel bad? Does that make you feel left out because all your friends have that? You feel like now an outcast. So how does that make you feel? And if you say I have all these feelings, like I'm sorry, I cannot function with my friends because they think and I should be having this and I should be having this. If you are constrained, then that is not working for you.
Sure. If you have a lot of friends that will shoot all over you. I mean, this is what friends do. And they're there to moderate you. But they're not wrong. They're not right either. Right. It's your life. You decide.
Right. So either useful and how does it make you feel? Because we are supposed to, if we want to be this
Psychotherapists use that term a lot.
Feel or use?
Yes, they'll come to me and they'll say, Dr. Mel, my camel has gone into, it likes the cow from the other pasture. And so, and I'll say, how does that make you feel? And I said, I feel jealous and I feel upset. Like I feel like I've been cheated. Now my camel has milk, when before I couldn't have any of her milk. Whatever. I went into a weird space. So anyway, the point is that somehow you just deal with the person who's right there and in the moment. Yeah. And useful and not useful is just one of those things. If you're married and you are having an affair with somebody at work, is that useful or not useful in your marriage? Yeah, you decide. Not up to me or anybody to tell you this is right or wrong. And see, I got blessed by that reply too. Yes, ma'am.
And I think it comes back to your actions and whether it's causing harm to yourself or others.
Mm-hmm. And harm no one.
might not always know.
Yes, you may not.
You're causing harm to yourself. And also, if you lose your moral compass, and again, having a moral compass is relative to your conditioning and your culture and your belief system.
Where do you buy this moral compass from? I need to go buy one.
I think I
From
went
parents.
to an antique store that they were doing some deals on them.
So what you're saying is the antique store, you have to be old school about morals. Is that what you're saying by antique store? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe somebody who's 30 years older may have a different moral compass. I don't know. What do you think, Ashok?
Yeah, I think good and bad. There is nothing good or bad. Like we kind of created it to survive through a particular situation or time or event. And that is our survival mechanism. That's not absolute. Like we say, okay, it comes so much from the culture and the ancestral and everything. We say, okay, like we had this girl in the neighborhood because she will have sex with everybody, and then she got pregnant when she was young, and she felt a miserable life, and the kid didn't have child growing up with, so we say it's bad. But like in many cultures, I've got friends.
What was her name? I might know her.
Yeah, a bunch of them. Okay, but I've got, and then culturally, because you were tormented in that culture, that how come your daughter or your sister or whoever has gone through that is bad. But I perfectly know many of the cultures, many of the countries, like I've got a lot of friends who are from Dominican Republic. When I start becoming friends with them, I realize, like, I'm like, where are the dads though? There are no dads. I'm like, what happened to the dads? Like, you must have a dad, and they don't even talk about their dad.
Father's Day is a massive confusion on Harlem Road near where you are actually right now. But there are not a lot of responsible dads out there, so you have to kind of pay attention to that. I want to ask one question of you, though, Ashok, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Are you happy?
Absolutely.
Wow. And Pam, are you happy? Pam? Earth calling Pam? Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I'm happy. I'm on my journey to being completely content. I wouldn't say I'm 100% there, but it's a journey, and I'm getting there.
Okay. That's a long-winded way of saying no. So she's getting there at some point. So that's pretty cool.
I would say I'm quite content with my life.
Content, yes. But I asked, are you happy?
Yes, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Okay.
You can see it in my eyes.
I see it now. I see it now.
Yeah.
We've been talking about things that are stayed, that are like rules and laws and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
How about do you guys do things spontaneously at all? Nisha, are you happy, kiddo?
In this moment, yes.
At this moment, how convenient. I like that. In the next moment, she reserves the right to be totally unhappy with that question. Okay, I like that. Very cool. So, in this trauma that you have to deal with, does it affect your happiness? Whether it's cultural, genetic trauma, or personal trauma from birth and all of that, does it affect your happiness at any level? Because that's all I'm concerned about. Are you happy? I don't care if you have a relationship or not. It makes no difference to me because I know that will change. Oh, by the way, you received a beautiful compliment, Pam. Your eyes are very beautiful. Ting Malawan says it. And she wants you to stay closer to your microphone. See, we're all looking at the eyes. You realize that.
We're all looking at the eyes.
Yes, that's very cool. So on your journey of personal happiness, Nisha, you are a sort of grounded guru, so to speak. You're grounded in medicine, but yet at the same time you are going on the level of energetics and the psychology of medicine and all of these things and how they pertain to you. And so you're following a similar path with Ashok, who's also dealing with energetics and all of that. And a lot of what he does and transmits is all just energy, not books, and all of this because he's not interested in that. And most gurus are not interested in reading and coding scriptures and all of that. That's not important. And Pam, sounds like you started this whole journey in the family, and that must have caused a revolution of sorts.
I think this comes back to
come closer.
The genetics.
Yeah.
Genetics. And I was actually going to make a point of this earlier about what is passed down through the genes and our ancestors. And Nisha and I talk about this quite a lot, about the spiritual side of things that have been passed down to us from generations, because I know from both my sets of grandparents, they were very, very spiritual and had, you know, some great connections with spirit. I remember when I was growing up, my nan, my mum's mother, who brought me up, you know, she would often go into, you know, trances, and being very young at the time, we weren't really understanding what was happening, but she used to go into trance. And she was, you know, quite a big devotee of, you know, in the Sikh religion and also Hindu religion. So she was, you know, would say quite a big devotee of God, you know, worship, that sort of thing. And also from my father's side as well. So I think those things have been passed through into our family. And I have various members of the family that, you know, have this sort of spiritual connection, and
some that don't.
Maybe they do, and we just haven't spoken about it. But we have such an enormous connection in such a large family. We have so much love, and, you know, big family, both on my mother's side and my father's side. You know, very.
You're a little bit psychic yourself, aren't you?
Yes.
I would say that I have some form of intuition sometimes.
That's a long-winded way of saying yes. Okay, good. That's good. Because I see it in your daughter once in a while.
Yeah.
But she doesn't. It goes from one thing, and then it kind of like attention deficit disorder with spirituality.
She's highly gifted.
She is very much so.
I think where it came from was my my, you know, Chacha, my uncle, my dad's brother's daughter. You know, this happened about 12 years ago when I don't know, you know, when you have this moment when she was, we would actually, this is a funny, well, it's not a funny story, but it's just a story of how this all really happened.
How we sort of,
yeah. But it's, I'd say it's quite poignant and quite important. You know, we were at a spa day. Actually, it was for Mother's Day, in fact. You know, we'd taken our mothers and we'd all gone for this spa. And it was my sister and Nisha and our friends. So just a bunch of us girls. And we were just sitting in the waiting room, waiting for our spa treatment and in our dressing gowns, just chilling out. And my cousin, sister, she was like, she got up and she just gasped. And she looked at me and she gasped and she goes, "Oh my God, Pam," like this. And I'm like, "What happened? What's wrong?" And she goes, "Oh my God." She goes, "Your aura." She goes, "I can see your aura." And she goes, "All I can see is this bright white light around you." And from that moment, I was mesmerized by her. And I really wanted to learn more about what she was talking about and her abilities, and that's how we got into sort of meditation and spirituality. But yeah, she's such a wonderful soul. She has her issues, she has her battles, but she's such a beautiful soul.
Everybody does, yeah.
Yeah, so
people who are, yeah.
She's played a very, very important part of our development, but also I would say my grandparents, my cousins, my sister. I think my sister Sarabjit's on the
yes,
call.
She was. She kept saying how much she loves you, and she said it so many times.
It's her birthday tomorrow, so happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Sarabjit. Tomorrow is 17th. Is that the 17th tomorrow?
It is, yeah.
That's also my daughter's birthday, Aurora.
Wow. So
October 17th.
I can't see the chat obviously from where we're speaking, but
well, actually you can. You need you just press comment. You can read everybody's.
Oh, okay.
There's a question for you, Nisha. Chris Bacha says, kindly define trauma versus shock versus depression. This would best be coming from a medical doctor who's best tuned into a subject of trauma and ancestral trauma and all of that. Could you answer that, Chris?
I saw this comment and I wanted to ask you what you also thought about it.
I will later.
So trauma, shock, and depression. So in medical terms, shock itself, we have different types of shock. So we have hypovolemic shock, we have cardiogenic shock, septic shock. And these are all states within the body that can ultimately lead into, for example, organ failure and in the most severe cases, death. But from this definition of shock, what I gather is that it's more an emotion of surprise. Or Chris, if you are online, if you can elaborate more on what you mean by shock. Depression, I like to call it a deep rest. So become deeply pressed down, you know, the vibration becomes low. And depression can arise from lots of different things. It can arise from hormonal imbalances, chemical imbalances. It can arise from traumatic experiences, things happening to you over a long period of time, or you come out of a relationship and you know you lose that connection with yourself. Now, depression and anxiety, I like to think of in this way. So depression is when we are so much in the past, you know, and we're dwelling on things that have happened and we're upset and things like that. And then anxiety is the opposite, where we're too far in the future. So depression is you and yourself being taken away from the moment, in essence. Trauma is more the effect of certain more lasting. These things that we might experience, we might define as traumatic, because they may have a high intensity of lasting effects on the body and the mind and the spirit. Chris says, yes, I lost my life partner after 15 years relationship, a soulmate, and the last 15 months before her death really put me off. I'm really, really sorry to hear that, Chris. I'm sending you lots of love and blessings and good vibrations to help you get through this difficult time. Chris also says that, am I in a state of trauma or shock? Those things can happen simultaneously. When we're going through a process of grief, it happens in different stages. We have process of denial, we have processes of anger. Sometimes you can dissociate from the whole thing to it's like a response from your nervous system whereby the emotion can be so intense that you just can't deal with it anymore. Some people, when they go through grief, it might be physically manifested through the nervous system, by which you may have blackouts or non-epileptic seizures. So it really depends on you and how you feel within yourself. So trauma and shock. Obviously, you are shocked because I presume you were not expecting something like this to happen. So I presume you are in a state of shock. And I also gather that you, as you are going through a traumatic experience, you're going through that, a range of emotions. So here you've just commented and you said that you have difficulty to make a closure, and this is one of the processes of grieving, and grieving takes a different length of time for different people. So having closure is a level of and losing someone that you've had such a close relationship with over such a long period of time, it can be difficult to accept this. And what I would say to you is just take the time and be very, very gentle with yourself. You're already stating difficulty in making closure with this. So be content in difficulty having closure and accept and embrace that and feel the moment come. You may never have closure. You may never feel like you accept what has happened. But what I do is that you have peace and you're able to find some sort of, I can't even say contentment because it's not the right word. It's just more peace that I wish for you at this moment. Mel, you can elaborate on this when it comes to the processes and what you feel maybe going through at the minute.
Chris, everything you said is related. It's part of a series of events that will happen. A trauma is the verb form of what happens. It's the action form of everything that happens to you. And the shock is the result. And usually, like Nisha was saying, it's either your mind is in a state of shock or your body is experiencing a state of shock. It can happen because of the trauma, and the trauma takes various forms: gunshot, blow to the head, someone leaving you, someone dying, someone's close to you that you didn't expect to die, and so on and so forth. And so when you go through the grieving process, shock happens first, then comes denial, then comes anger, then comes a whole series of different things that will happen. So what I'll do for you is next Wednesday when we broadcast Uncommon Sense again, the entire day, the entire program from 9 p.m. till we close will be dealing with grief and the grieving process, how to go through it. And I'll teach you various ways that you can do that. And so we can do this. It will be a healing. The closure is going to be difficult. You have to go through the physical process first. You got to go through all the cycles first. And then at some point you come to terms with it. And then at some point, you remember her as the greatest gift in your life and the resource that you wish you will meet again, and you will meet again at some point. So there's never that, the universe doesn't leave everything open-ended just like that. There's a reason why you are where you are. And now explaining all that to you will not make any sense. You'll just tell us all to F off and so on and so forth, because you are angry and you are hurt and you are in pain. And so I'm so sorry that I can't be with you right now to help you and sit with you all night long over a cup of coffee and discuss this. I wish I could. I really wish. So the next closest thing I can do is Wednesday. So please tune in. That entire program is going to be for you. Okay? Sarah asked, how do we heal from it on a cellular level? Nisha, this is your purview.
Sarah is, I want to send you lots of blessings. We met in an amazing way, London, very synchronized, full of lots of synchronicities, and like the universe I think Sarah has been going through her own journey, through in lots of different ways. So healing through things on a cellular level, what's coming to mind is that we have to remember that we are crystalline structures. There are various components to the cell itself. A large component of that is water, and as we know, water has memory. We're also fluid. Healing is always possible. However, it always depends on the level of trauma. There's sometimes there is a point of return, and it really depends on the event, ability to be receptive, and sometimes your body's ability to regenerate itself. So, for example, if you are more aged or your metabolism isn't as fast as somebody who's maybe younger, Deepak Chopra himself may tell us something different with reference to his book, This Body, Timeless Mind, and he has very interesting concept when it comes to aging itself. So it really depends, and there are lots of modalities of healing. We can use sound as a form of vibration. We can use light healing as itself. We can use psychological healing. We can use chemical medication. So it really depends on the trauma itself, the level of damage that it's done to the cell, and your receptivity to the modality of healing.
I have good news and bad news for everyone. Which one do you want to hear first?
I think we know.
The good news is I love you all. Thank you so much for being on this program. This is amazing. I want to ask you to come back again if you would like to. Wednesday, I am dealing 100% with Chris's idea, and this could also help Nisha if you were on that program as well. Ashok, also, it would be very useful with your your energy, your freedom thing, even though Mom has cock blocked you, but you can start to talk about many other things as well. But we can talk about all these things, right? So it's good.
I can't believe you said that.
Yeah, this is me. I say that. But today's topic is fascinating, and next Wednesday is going to be even better. So before we go, the bad news is the StreamYard only allows me to go like 2.5 hours, and we are like way beyond. It's going to cut itself off. I don't know what it's going to cut off.
Are you sure about that? Because I don't think StreamYard, I think Facebook has got a limitation.
No, this does.
Okay.
Facebook is still continuing. So before we go one by one, would you guys help me by giving some wonderful advice to everybody who's listening in today, or will be listening in or retuning in as well? Let's start with the
ladies first.
Sure. Mom or daughter? Yes. Wow.
So I would like to reiterate that there is a sacred and a powerful vibration when it comes to the human body, and a powerful intelligence that we all possess. And I want people to listen to their bodies, listen to their emotions, what comes up, and listen carefully, and listen to the message it's telling you, because we all know what we need deep down. The spirit knows. So my message is to listen deeply to yourself, listen to the physical pain you may have, listen to the emotional pains you have, and honor them and use them to better yourself and to become a better person every day. And keep your heart open. And I'm sending lots of love to people.
Dr. Nisha Rani, thank you so much. Pam?
So just to say thank you so much to you and Brother Ashok and Nisha and all our beautiful souls that have joined today. I would just like to send everybody lots of love and blessings and good vibrations, positive vibrations. The message that I have for all you beautiful souls out there is, remember you are a beautiful soul. Remember the importance and your own importance, and remember the task that you have in this life. Om Shanti.
Thank you so much, Pam. And we will see you next time. It would be awesome. Thank you. Ashok, Guru of all gurus.
So this is my message. We all have the power to heal ourselves when we quiet down our mind chatter. So all this talk about people getting so disempowered by this bad karma and the ancestral karma and all those things, all of those, we have the power to heal from all of that, and not get distracted by that. This is something which is handed over to us, and we cannot do anything about it. And that Pearl story I gave you demonstrated that pretty good. So don't try to hide behind all of those things, because some people are really hiding behind those things. This is my karma, and that's why these things are happening. No, you can do your actions now, which is your current karma, which is going to change the course of your life for future. So do stay in the present and do the current karma the way you want your life to be. And thank you.
Ashok Thakur, we will see you next week on Wednesday. Thank you so much for your input, and thank you for being in the program. Love you very much, brother. Emphasis on brother.
Yeah, that's okay. That's
talk to you soon. So you've had 3 very special people on the program talking about knowing somebody deeply, about hearing everything, about recognizing the thought. It's sort of like the way the magicians are sometimes when they say, now you see it, now you don't. It's the way we are with everything in our lives, from the things we eat, from the people that we allow into ourselves. Now we see them, then we don't. It's part of like the Psalm, if you remember in the Christian world, that God leads you to still waters that restores your spirit. And sometimes in between relationships, isn't that what you're doing? In between the pain and the pleasure, in between years left of loving and then finding emptiness, isn't that what it is at some point? That you come to the stillness only to recognize that deeply you have loved, deeply you have lived, deeply you have tasted, deeply you have seen, deeply you have felt everything on the earth. Sometimes we're so concerned with what's coming up next that we have no time to be in the present moment and see and feel and touch and taste and smell what is in front of us and who is in front of us. It doesn't take very long for each of us to accumulate, emotional history, whether it comes from ancestors or whether it comes from our own doing or misdoing. A child burns her hand on a stove, and a fear of fire begins. In a very tender moment, a hand is slapped, and a fear of love then begins. Our emotional associations and reflections, they run deep. And often the heart breathes beneath all of our associations like a soft, sandy bottom waiting underwater for us to explore. So thus, to see ourselves clearly, we must try to still our associations till we are as transparent as a calm lake. When still enough and clear enough, others can also see through our bottom, all the way through to us. It makes love possible again. But paradoxically, when someone is moved to stretch for us, their fingers stir things up and the waters stir and sending all these ripples everywhere, and we can often lose sight of what matters, and they lose sight of what they've seen before in us. So all this really affirms the need to stay with our feelings long enough for the emotional associations, the ripples, to settle. Good or bad makes no difference. Useful, not useful, makes no difference. Nietzsche tells us, amor fati, embrace your fate. Good or bad, doesn't matter. You're alive. You're participating in this great miracle of life. And anything is possible if you believe. So no one can escape this ripples, associations, emotional associations, sensory associations with everything that has occurred in our past. So no matter how young or old you may be, no matter how innocent or experienced you are, if you've been awake and alive in any kind of relationship that has in any way been real, your waters will begin to stir, your emotions will ripple. It seems the only way we can truly know our own depth is to wait for our associations and reflections to subside until we are as clear as a lake again. You see, it's only when what gets stirred up settles that we can see ourselves and we can see each other clearly. That's the nature of life. It's always been the nature of life and will continue to do so, no matter what you believe, no matter what you think, no matter what your dogma or karma is. So calm down. Take a deep breath. We will lose things. We will lose people. This is what they didn't teach us well how to handle. And next Wednesday, all of us will attend to you, Chris. All of us will talk to you. But in so doing, we talk to the world at the same time. I want to thank you for your patience and listening to this program, Uncommon Sense. You've been listening to the voice of Dr. Mel Gill. Next week, we broadcast on Wednesday and Friday, 9 a.m. New York time, 9 p.m. Singapore time. And if you are in Bulgaria, it's 4 p.m. Bulgarian time. If you're in London, it's 2 p.m. in London. Look forward to seeing you. Good night, everybody.